Most people think old, damaged quarters are worthless, but what if I told you that some bad condition Washington quarters are actually worth millions of dollars? Fearful face. In today's video, we're revealing 4 rare state Washington quarters that look ordinary, worn, and used, but collectors are paying insane prices for them. Before you spend or ignore any old quarter, watch this video till the end, because you might already be holding a fortune in your pocket. First up, the Washington quarter dated 1982 with the D mint mark in bad or heavily circulated condition is a coin that may look very ordinary at first glance, but when explained in full historical, technical, and collector-focused detail, it tells a long and meaningful story about United States coinage, daily economic life, and the realities of circulation wear. This coin belongs to the long-running Washington Quarter series that began in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first President of the United States, and by 1982 the design had already been in continuous use for 50 years, making it one of the most familiar coins in American pockets. The obverse of the 1982 D quarter features a left-facing bust of George Washington designed by John Flanagan, with the word, "Liberty," curved along the top edge, the phrase, "In God We Trust," placed to the left of Washington's neck, and the date, 1982, clearly visible at the bottom. In bad condition, however, these details are often weak, with Washington's hair appearing flat and smooth, facial lines almost completely worn away, and the lettering sometimes blending into the rim due to decades of circulation. The D mint mark, found on the obverse to the right of Washington's ribbon near the bottom, indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which in 1982 produced an extremely high number of quarters, approximately 480 million, making the 1982 D one of the most common quarters of the modern clad era. The reverse design shows a heraldic eagle with wings spread wide, clutching arrows in one talon and olive branches in the other, with the inscriptions, "United States of America," along the top, "E pluribus unum," above the eagle's head, and "quarter dollar," along the bottom. In badly worn examples, the eagle's feathers are often nearly invisible, the arrows may appear as simple shapes, and the lettering can be soft or partially worn down. The coin is made of a copper-nickel clad composition, consisting of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, a composition adopted in 1965 when the United States stopped using silver in circulating quarters. This means the 1982 D quarter has no silver value, and in worn condition the edge often reveals a brownish copper stripe, especially if the coin has seen decades of heavy use. One of the most historically interesting aspects of the 1982 Washington quarter is that the U.S. Mint did not issue official uncirculated mint sets in 1982 or 1983 due to budget issues, which has made high-grade examples from these years scarcer than normal, but this scarcity does not apply to bad-condition coins, which remain extremely common and widely available. In bad condition, also described by collectors as good, very good, or sometimes fair, the coin shows heavy wear across all high points, with flattened rims, weak legends, and a smooth overall appearance, often accompanied by scratches, nicks, discoloration, and environmental damage caused by years of handling, exposure to moisture, and contact with other coins. From a value standpoint, a 1982 D Washington quarter in bad condition is generally worth only its face value of 25 cents, because the high mintage, lack of precious metal content, and heavy wear remove any numismatic premium, and coin dealers typically treat such examples as ordinary circulation coins rather than collectibles. However, this does not mean the coin is meaningless, as many collectors, especially beginners, use worn coins like this to learn about grading, mint marks, composition, and the effects of circulation on design details, and some people keep them as part of date and mint collections even in low grades. There is also ongoing interest among error coin hunters who search through 1982D quarters in any condition hoping to find striking errors such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchettes, die cracks, or lamination errors, which can sometimes carry value even if the coin is worn, though such finds are rare and require careful examination. In a broader cultural sense, the 1982D Washington quarter in bad condition represents everyday American life in the early 1980s, a period marked by inflation, changing monetary policies, and heavy coin circulation, and each worn surface and faded detail reflects countless transactions in shops, vending machines, buses, and banks over many years. For collectors outside the United States, including those in South Asia and other regions, this coin often serves as a tangible connection to U.S. history and economics, showing how mass-produced money circulates, wears down, and eventually becomes part of numismatic study. In conclusion, while the Washington Quarter 1982D mint mark in bad condition is not rare, not valuable, and not made of silver, it remains an important educational and historical coin, demonstrating how condition directly affects value, how mint marks identify production locations, and how even the most common coins carry stories of the time and society in which they were used, making it a meaningful piece for learning, reference, and appreciation rather than investment. Next up, the Washington Quarter dated 1992 with the P mint mark in bad or heavily circulated condition is a very common modern U.S. coin, yet when explained in deep detail it helps collectors clearly understand how condition, minting era, metal composition, and circulation history affect value and collectability. This coin belongs to the classic Washington Quarter series that began in 1932 and ran until 1998. Before the introduction of the state quarters program in 1999, and by 1992 the design had become one of the most familiar images in American currency. The obverse of the 1992 P Washington Quarter shows a left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan, with the word, Liberty, along the top edge, the motto, In God We Trust, placed to the left of Washington's neck, and the date, 1992, at the bottom. In bad condition, these design elements are often heavily worn, with Washington's hair details flattened, the cheek and jawline smooth, and the lettering weak or partially blending into the rim due to years of circulation. The P mint mark indicates the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which by this time was producing coins with visible mint marks. Philadelphia began using the P mint mark on quarters starting in 1980, and in 1992 the Philadelphia Mint produced a very large number of quarters, hundreds of millions, making the coin extremely common in circulation. The reverse design features the traditional heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, holding arrows in one talon and olive branches in the other, surrounded by the inscriptions, United States of America, E pluribus unum, and $quarter, but on a badly worn example the eagle's feathers are often almost completely smooth, the arrows appear as simple lines, and fine details are mostly lost. The 1992 P Washington Quarter is made of copper nickel-clad metal, consisting of outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core, a composition introduced in 1965 when silver was removed from circulating quarters. Because of this, the coin has no silver content, and in worn condition the edge usually shows a visible brownish copper stripe, especially if the coin has been heavily used. In bad condition, often described by collectors as good, very good, or even fair, the coin typically shows flattened rims, weak or partially unreadable inscriptions, surface scratches, nicks, stains, and sometimes environmental damage such as dark toning or corrosion from moisture exposure. From a value standpoint, A 1992p Washington quarter in bad condition is generally worth only its face value of 25 cents, since the coin is extremely common, has no precious metal content, and shows heavy wear that removes any collector premium. Coin dealers usually treat such coins as ordinary circulation change rather than collectible pieces. However, these coins still attract attention from beginners and educational collectors because they are ideal for learning how to identify mint marks, understand grading standards, and recognize how circulation affects coin details over time. Some collectors also check worn 1992p quarters carefully for mint errors, such as off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, die cracks, lamination errors, or misaligned dies, because genuine errors can sometimes carry value even if the coin itself is worn, though such discoveries are rare and require experience to verify. Historically, the 1992 Washington quarter reflects everyday American economic life in the early 1990s, a period when coins were heavily used in vending machines, parking meters, public transportation, and daily retail transactions, and each worn surface represents thousands of hand-to-hand exchanges over decades. For collectors outside the United States, including those in South Asia and other regions, the 1992p quarter often serves as a learning reference and a tangible example of modern U.S. coinage, showing how mass-produced money circulates widely and gradually loses detail through use. In conclusion, while the Washington quarter 1992p mint mark in bad condition is not rare, not valuable in monetary terms, and not made of silver, it remains an important educational coin that clearly demonstrates the relationship between mintage, metal composition, condition, and value, making it useful for study, reference, and basic collection building rather than investment or high-end numismatics. Next up,